Welcome back to Tech Nuggets. In this video, we are going to explore Ollama's tool support, otherwise called as function calling. Before we begin, I often upload videos about artificial intelligence, cloud technologies, and full stack development. These videos covers front-end technologies like Angular, Bootstrap, back-end programming language like Java, Python, and Node.js, and database like MongoDB, MySQL. You can find all this and more on TechNugget channel. Please subscribe, share, and like the videos. Let us see more details on Ollama's tool support. So the recent version of Ollama supports tool calling or function calling. So this enables a model to answer a given prompt using tools or functions it knows about, making it possible for models to perform more complex tasks or interact with outside world. Example tools such as functions, APIs, web browsing, code interpreter, and much more. What we need is we need a Ollama library, then decide a model whichever supports a function calling, then give your message, and additionally, we call as a tools. We will give a description about this function, and finally, that function will respond back with tool calls, uh, parameter. So, what are the supported models? It's a Llama 3.1, Mistral Nemo, or Fire Function V2, Command R. As we all know the power of LLM, it can answer any question. However, LLM's knowledge is its training data and cutoff date. What if you want to know about current trend or events? For example, what is the current weather in Paris? Or what is the current stock price of Apple? Or get details of my employees. LLM will not know answer for any of this question. That is where tool or function calling will help to get external data and respond it. In this function calling architecture example, my query will be what is the current stock price of Apple? So I will send this to the UA server, my Streamlit server, and Streamlit server takes it. Along with my query, it gives you function description to LLM, that is Llama 3.1 or maybe Mistral. So based on the function description and based on my query, and LLM decides to call the external function, which will call external API to get this data. Example here, get stock price with the symbol, and appends to the response and send it back to me. What are the demo function calling will be covered as part of this video. One will be get flight timing, the limited simulated data, and get stock price. It will call external API, and get my employee details, and it will get data from MySQLdb. Let us see the library requirements. As I mentioned, so Ollama is the first one, then Streamlit for user interface and accept the request. Then Y Finance, that is to get your stock data, Pandas for data frame, MySQL client to communicate back to MySQLdb, and Python.env to put the env environment. The next requirement is Ollama's more LLMs. So Ollama list. So you can see Mistral latest and Llama 3, 3.1. So this is very important because Llama 3.1 onwards, this function calling support, and Mistral latest also supports. Okay, make sure you have this LLMs. If you don't have, you can use Ollama full and give the name of the LLM. You will be able to get it. Installation of Ollama is simple. Go to the Ollama site and try to download and use it. The development setup will be you create a Python virtual environment. In this case, I created Ollama tools PRJ, then use requirement.txt to install all dependent Python library. Let me do the code walkthrough. This is the main Streamlit function. We have a header, we have common prompts where you can copy paste for these functions, and I have input query text where I can take this user query. Then there is a button. Then once I have prompt, then I call it with calling by providing model name and input query. Model name can be Llama 3.1 or Mistral. I've used both. On Llama 3, sometime my 3.1, sometime I found a bit slow, so I'm using Mistral. You can use any of this. Now let us see the run function. So run function takes the model as the input, and the input query is another parameter. model and input query. So you use async client initialize or set the role as a user, content as input query, and you use await client.chat. That is the async way of calling model and message is the input query. And mainly, very importantly, tools. You are going to declare set of tools for any of the query. If it is relevant, then it's going to use any of these functions. For example, here I have get flight timings is one of the function. The description is about this function and the parameters. Get flight timings, two parameters required. That is under properties, departure, type is string. You give a description about it, arrival, string, description about it. Then I have another function. It is going to fetch stock price. So get stock price and description about it. Then your parameter, properties, stock symbol is a parameter. That is about the description about it, and the required is stock symbol. And one more function I have, get EMP details. So this is going to fetch employee details from MySQL database. So what are the input parameters? There's a first name and last name. So these two are required. And once you pass all of this and you get the response back appended to the messages. So there is one more check we have to do. Sometimes it may not call the functions. So how do you check? For example, you'll check the tool calls parameter. It will not have any response. That's where you check not response having this. Does not have any response. Then you append that message and return it. If it is uses tools, then pass the appropriate parameters. For example, get flight timings. If it is get flight timings, what are the arguments? Departure and arrival. So this is the signature and this is the syntax which you have to use. That is your function message, function main, then function arguments departure, function arguments arrival. Okay, then the same way for stock price, stock symbol, employee details, first name, last name. Then finally append this message with the role as a tool and the function response. Finally, you append this message with await and write it into it. Now, you may ask, where does this function exist? I have described about the function, parameters, all fine, but where does this exist? There are two ways to do that. One is I can define this function in a different program and import it in this Python, or I can define in this same program. So for this demo purpose, I have defined all of these three functions in the same program. Let us see one by one quickly. One is get flight timing because it's got a simulated data with the limited data with the departure and arrival and returns string. The way it returns is JSON dumps. It's a key, and this one it's like a dictionary. The next one is get stock price. Take a symbol from Y Finance. It takes Y ticker and a 1 day historical data and takes a close price and returns it. Then get employee details. So it uses a MySQL client library. First name, last name, it takes parameters and the load.env. So in that we have db host, user, password and db name. The way you use is .env file, keep it in the same location, load this and use it. Okay, so then we have a cursor, select, start and pass these two parameters. It fetches the record. It's a fetch one. If record found and create a dictionary of all the parameters, returns it. Let's run and test this program. The way you run is streamlit run Ollama tools demo.py because this is how you run streamlit application as soon as you enter this command on your virtual environment. So it's going to start with the browser. This is how it is on this particular port number. Okay, these are the common prompt which you saw in the program. I kept both the side by side so that you can see what's happening in the server side as well as the front end. Okay, let's put this one. Let's ask question. So generating response, so you can see the response generating at the backend, and there are print which are given inside function, and with the value what is there, and you can see this, and also you see the response. So the estimated time from New York to Los Angeles, approximately 5 hours 30 minutes. That's the response. However, it is adding this one text, the estimated flight time, all this, it's been added by LLM. Now, let me ask another question where the data does not exist for Bangalore, that is BLR. Okay, so I have to tweak my question. So, Bangalore, I have to put Los Angeles and BLR. BLR is a Bangalore code that to get, sometimes it is little tricky to get this response, even though there is a response generating in the server side. Somehow it's not coming up here. So once I tweaked it, because I put a wrong BLR as a code, then it gives me the response. There is no direct flight from NYC to BLR. Ideally, it's a BLR because you see the data is limited, so it's unable to find. That's right. Now, let us check another question, which is there is no function existing for it. For example, what is the weather in Paris? So there is no function existing for it. So let's see what will be the response. So on the server side, you can see the response. In order to provide you with the current weather in Paris, I would need a function or an API call to fetch this information. Now let us check the second question, that is second function, that is stock price. You can see in the backend it is saying it's calling the function and the price, and it is giving the response. The current stock price is of AAPL is a symbol. The company name is Apple, which we have not provided. It is actually getting it from its own knowledge. Now let's verify this answer. Is it correct from Apple stock price history? Perfect. It is 22684, 22684. It's a historical price. Now let's go to the next question. That is you are getting from database. Get employee details of Georgie Casello. Okay, let's see how it's getting the response. As you can see in the backend, it fetches the record, employee number, birth date, all of that, and it is giving. And finally, it is composing the response with employee number with the detailed explanation and first name, last name, and also you can see the response. Now let's verify this record detail in the MySQLdb side. I have this my MySQLdb. This is my database, and this is my table, and this is the record. You can see the birth date and hire date. So what it has done is it's really good because it expanded the date as September 2nd, 1953 as a birth date. Hire date is something June 26. This is the power of function calling or tool calling. Explore it and experience it. I hope you like this video. Share it, comment it, subscribe it. Thank you. See you next time.